What's going on, Imperials? It's Emperor Cubone here. Recently, we talked about Pokemon's signature abilities that need to be on more than just one Pokemon. Not just because they're really good abilities, but because it matches up with other Pokemon's lore or name or some other connection. So now it's time to do the same thing with signature moves. Signature moves fare a little different from the abilities in that they are more frequently distributed from one generation to the next, with say a starter's signature being added to a random Pokemon in the game after. But there are still some pretty glaring omissions, and the first one that came to mind for me was the move 1000 Arrows. Right now this is one of the many signature moves of Zygarde. Seriously, it has 4, that's pretty big overkill. But the obvious Pokemon to connect to this move is Decidueye. The Alola Grass starter is obviously themed on an archer, being the only Pokemon in existence to use a bow and arrow, at least as of the end of Gen 8. It's already got the signature moves Spirit Shackle and Triple Arrows, so the fact that there's an arrow move out there that is not on our Emerald Archer is absurd. I realize the move is incredibly powerful, and that's probably the sole reason it will never be allowed on Decidueye, but the name and theming is too good to pass up. Plus, giving him such a strong ground move would become an instant staple in his moveset. But as we also said in the abilities video, most of these will be newer just by nature of them not being around for as long to get on other Pokemon like moves from earlier generations. But the hope is that it will change in time. One that has maintained for a surprisingly long time is Soft Boiled, which is Chansey's signature move that allows it to heal itself and be even more annoying in battle. Now, the thing about this one is that it used to be on more Pokemon back in Gen 3. So I guess you could have brought one up all the way to the modern day, but it would be a lot simpler just to restore the move to these Pokemon, especially the Togepi line. The Japanese name is Egglay, and Togepi is an egg Pokemon that used to have this move. So giving back a healing trick to these fairy types makes almost too much sense to ignore. But speaking of the Clefairy line, there is another that could fit them even better. See, the signature move Lunar Dance is found on Cresselia, and that makes total sense because it is a moon-based legendary. However, the move itself is not even that great. It kills you and then buffs the stats of the next Pokemon that switches in. That's a fairly underwhelming trait for a signature legendary move. But as we know, the Clefairy line are also deeply connected to the moon, and also frequently shown to dance in its presence. So if any other Pokemon could have Lunar Dance, I would say it should go to the ones already doing it. Another blatant one to me, and everyone else really, is Octolock. This is the signature move given to Grapploct, which fits as a fighting move on this martial cephalopod, but the attack should clearly also be shared with Octillery. I realize that Octillery isn't necessarily a strong hand-to-hand combatant like its Galarian cousin, but the Japanese name is Octopus Hold, and the animation is just a bunch of suction cups gripping the foe. So Octillery can totally do that too, right? I wouldn't even make such a big deal about it, but Grapploct can learn Octazooka. So if it can co-opt Octillery's move without even being a water type, then surely the favor can be returned to Johto's main aircraft deterrent. Next is one that I didn't even remember with the move Stuffed Cheeks. Apparently this is the signature move of the Squavit line, but I guess I never even bothered to raise my Squavit to level 10 to see it. Oops. But it's actually pretty decent since it has the Pokemon eat a berry and then its defense raises 2 stages, and on Greedent that can be a big difference. There are some other Pokemon that would fit with this move. I'm thinking particularly of Pachirisu, since it can stuff its cheeks as well, and being a fellow squirrel, I think it fits. And the same could go for Dedenne, since it does have the cheek pouch ability already, and even more Peko, who is notorious for storing and then consuming berries as it becomes hangry. These British squirrels are already a lot better off on the defensive side than most Pokemon that could be compatible with this move. So why not spread it around to more of the Pikachu clones? Unless that would somehow make it too overpowered with Nuzzle. Another move that has also been seen recently is Ice Hammer, which unfortunately is only on the horrific Crabominable, so let's try and save this move by giving it to a real Pokemon. It's not even that bad of a move, being an Ice-type variation of Hammer Arm, so my guess is the best bet would maybe be Avalugg, Seeing as how this move slows the user down, and Avalugg is already so slow, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But I do think that this move could also work on Glastrier as well, since it is also kind of slow, and has giant ice hooves that could definitely hammer the opponents. The next one I think makes sense on a broader scale is the move Floral Healing, which is currently the signature move of Comfey. And the Alola necklace over here does embody the move pretty perfectly, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't be seen on others. Especially given the name of Floral Healing. I know it's a fairy-type move, but the name clearly suggests some grass-type Pokemon should be able to get access to it. So some primarily cleric plant-based Pokemon like maybe Meganium, Bellossom, or even Leavanny. Possibly the least controversial option on this list. Now, in looking over the still signature moves, I had to stop at the Impidimp line because they have two. False Surrender comes up when it evolves into Morgrim, and I would have picked that one, except the description says it uses its disheveled hair, which not many Pokemon could pull off. So instead, we'll use Spirit Break. This one shows up when evolved into Grimmsnarl, and is said to attack the foe with such force that it breaks their spirit. The Japanese name is even Soul Crash, but I think this could be perfect on Spiritomb. It's already associated with souls and spirits, and wouldn't think twice about using such excessive force, being a dark type and all, and it would be great irony to give it this strong move of its only type weakness. One that I didn't even really know about was from the new Legends Arceus game, this time with Sneasler and the attack Dire Claw. I didn't use this ugly wretch, so I never even really knew this was a thing. But unlike, say, Stone Axe or Psyshield Bash, which are very narrow in focus, it seems to me that all you need to use this dire attack is just to have claws. It is a poison-type move, so I think we could settle for just having poison-type Pokemon use it, since there are plenty that have monstrous claws worthy of slashing. And out of all of them, I would say Drapion is probably the best bet, since it does have a leg up on the competition, or a tail, rather. However, in the Hisui region, this attack has a chance not only to poison the target, but also make them paralyzed or drowsy, and that might be a little OP for the mainline game, so just poisoning will do fine. But speaking of overpowered, people might disagree that King's Shield should ever leave Aegislash, but the text of the move doesn't state anything specifically sword-related. If anything, it just seems regal. So my recommendation would be giving it to Slowking. I know Slowking doesn't really need another way to stay alive longer, but I could totally see it being able to protect itself with psychic powers by creating a powerful shield. In fact, I would love to see it as a gimmick for every Pokemon with King in the name, but I realize that might not fit reasonably on all of them, so I'll just settle for making Slowking even harder to kill. Another niche move that we've seen recently is Instruct on Oranguru. And this move is very unique in that it makes the targeted Pokemon use their last move again. So primarily useful in double or triple battles, I guess unless your foe used Heal Pulse or something. It also fits with Oranguru being so studious since it is the Sage Pokemon. But more importantly, it also has the telepathy ability, making it immune to ally Pokemon attacks, so that's probably a good facet to keep in mind. The Elgium line gets telepathy, so they could be good options for this, but some Pokemon also get this as a hidden ability that could fit better, like Medicham, who could be a capable instructor, I'm sure, and the Orbeetle line would be pretty great for this, since it has been a bookworm all along. So maybe we will see this in the future on more Psychic-type Pokemon. I was going to throw in Chloroblast as well, which belongs to the new variant of Electrode, but as great as that naming convention is, this move takes a hefty toll, so we can just leave it for now. But one that does have potential is with Hisui and Lilligant in Victory Dance. It's simple enough, you do a little dance and then your offensive and defensive stats get boosted, with your moves getting a 50% power increase. Well worth the one turn of setup for most Pokemon. And of course there have been plenty of Pokemon to embrace Dance. I don't think the fact that it's a fighting type move should matter in the slightest, especially when it's not even an actual attack. I'm not saying that you would have to teach it to Oricorio, but imagine how fun it would be triggering it with the Dancer ability through more than just one possible partner. It would be quite the victory celebration indeed. Now, one of my favorite moves brought in through Sword and Shield is the new Jaw Lock, which is the signature move of the Dreadnought line. And honestly, Dreadnought is my favorite Pokemon from Galar, so I'm fine with it having its own signature attack. But Jaw Lock is just too good to hoard. This Dark-type attack has the user bite the foe, which then traps them and prevents leaving the battle. Perfect theming for a snapping turtle, and even better with the Strong Jaw ability. But if you ask me, an obvious crop of Pokemon to get this move is the Crocodiles. These creatures have possibly the most impressive jaws in the animal kingdom, so giving it to Feraligatr and Crocodile, and even the new starter Fuecoco, could be fantastic coverage and utility to all of the Gators out there, especially if they're already Dark-type. But the last one I'll cover is the signature move of Galarian Weezing called Strange Steam. This is indeed a strange move that has Weezing forego its standard poisonous gases and instead switch to Steam power. Now, this is obviously in reference to the giant smokestacks they added, but it is steam and not smoke. It says as much in the description of the move and the Japanese name, but besides that, its stats are pretty decent with a chance to confuse. But if there's one Pokemon that makes just as much sense with Strange Steam, it's Volcanion. Just because it might be hard to get a hold of doesn't mean that you can just exclude the Steam Pokemon from using a Steam-based move. Its current signature move is all over it, so I think if we're going to use Steam power, then Volcanion should probably be consulted. The Steam Engine ability is a bit of a different story. There are of course many more of these, mostly on legendary Pokemon, but those are the Pokemon I feel are most deserving to learn these signature moves. Which signature moves do you think need wider recognition? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!